I finally did it. I finally did it, you guys. It's finally happened. Hey besties, it's been a long time since I've recorded for this channel. It's been a long time since I've even said hey besties to you guys. Honestly, it's just been a long ass time, and I always say that in the beginning of the videos because, as y'all already know, I am a very not consistent YouTuber. I don't know how I plan to grow my YouTube channel if I'm not consistent, but that's another problem. But no, honestly, I think this is actually the longest I've ever gone without posting a video. I'm going on my page on my YouTube channel. The last time I posted a video was 7 months ago. 7 months ago, and it was my little Walmart haul. Yeah, YouTube, I haven't filmed anything for YouTube in such a long time because a lot has happened this year, and I'm gonna tell you all about it. Go get some snacks, go ahead and just get comfortable, because this video is just gonna be a lot of updating you on what's been going on in my life. It's gonna be a lot of updating you on just like what's new. So where do we start? I feel like this year for me was such a, like, I don't want to, like, a gap year is not really what it's called, but it was such a, like, a transition. I want to say that 2021 was my transition year, as in like transitioning from my old life to my now new life. I like how I'm saying that, and I haven't even told you guys what has happened. So let me just go ahead and say it, because I feel like I'm being too dramatic. But it's because this year I'm just like, I literally don't even know where to start, because I don't think that I've ever even really talked to anyone about how crazy this year has been for me, how much change this year has brought me. I don't think I've even, like, because I usually journal. I like to journal. I like to, like, write my prayers down, and I feel like I haven't even really done that. So this is the first time that I'm sitting here and I'm just like spilling out how much I've gone through this year. And what better way to do this and unload all of this information than here on my YouTube channel with my besties. I feel like when I'm with my camera, I'm able to just kind of like say what I need to say and kind of look back at it and be like, okay, like kind of analyze it. Because one thing about me is I feel like I take in information, I register and process information way after the matter. Like, I never react to things in the moment. It always takes me like a few days, a few hours, even a few weeks, and in this case a few months for me to really take in what has happened and to kind of be like, wow, okay, that just happened. You know what I mean? So okay, let me get to it. I finally did it. I finally did it, you guys. It's finally happened. After 5 years, I have officially moved to Florida. Okay, super dramatic. I know I'm being super dramatic, but yes, you guys have heard it here first. I haven't really, like, the only people that know that I've moved are obviously like my close friends, my close family. Like, those are the only people that really know that I've officially moved to Florida. But this is the first time that I'm announcing it to anybody else. So basically, this is me telling you that I've officially moved to Florida. So that's the big news. That's the big life update. But we're gonna go back because this is a chit chat video, and it wouldn't be a good chisme video without me telling you the whole story of how it came about that I moved here. So now that you guys know the big news, boy, if you don't get that I've moved to Florida, let's go ahead and take it back. So as you guys know, again, if you follow me on here, you guys knew that I was living with my cousin Daniela for 3 years of my life. I actually moved in with her when I was 20 years old, and I lived with her up until I was 23. That was really my first time living on my own, even though I was living with my cousin and her little family. There's a little bug. Even though I was living with my cousin and her little family, you know, I was paying my own rent, I was paying my car insurance, my phone bill, you know, basically just being responsible for my things. And that was my first taste of that. my first taste of being out on my own. And I am so grateful for her and her husband, for all that they've ever done for me. Like, I think that this video is just going to be a lot of that, like me explaining everything that I've been through and just being so grateful to all of the people that have really supported me and been there for me throughout my journey. So yes, as you guys know, all of my old videos were filmed in that house. That's also where I really started my YouTube career again. It was once I moved out and started living with them. So I will show you guys a little bit of clips from how supportive my cousin really was. Like, she did a few videos with me when I first started doing YouTube again. They just really always supported my YouTube career, even though I was the one that was very inconsistent.
If 2 plus 2 is 4, right? And 5 plus 5 is 10. Okay. What the fuck is this?
My cousin, more than anything, like, she knows how much I love to do makeup. She knows how much I love to do YouTube. So she really just always supported me. She's always been that bigger, older sister that I've never had, because as you guys know, I am the older sister in my family. And so again, Daniela, if you're watching this video, which bitch, you better be watching it. You better be watching it. Thank you. I love you so much from the bottom of my heart. You don't know how much how big of a role you've played in my life, how much you've contributed to me becoming the woman that I currently am at this moment, and the woman that I will become. Life, I went through so many things in that stage of my life. Living there, I learned so much. That was when I fell into my first big depression. When I first hit rock bottom, it was in that house, just, you know, because of my own personal stuff that I was going through, because going out into the real world and being an adult is not easy. It's not easy. And no matter how good it might be at the moment, like, you do go through your ups and downs, you do go through your little things, and I went through that. But for the first time, it was there. Okay, moving forward, so let me try to give you guys dates just so it all kind of makes sense. So last year that I was living, at my cousin's house, I had already told myself that my biggest goal for this year of 2021 was to move out on my own. Whether it was to stay in Michigan and get my own apartment, or to move to Florida and get my own apartment. So it was one of the two, but the point is that I was kind of ready to be on my own and to kind of give my cousin and her family their privacy back, their life back, you know. Even though we did have, like, you know, they had the upstairs, I had the downstairs, we did have that privacy, but there's nothing like, you know, really having your privacy, right? So I felt like I was ready for it. I was ready to move. It had already been 3 years. I was like, I'm ready to do it, I'm ready to go. So that was in my head last year. Next year you're moving, bitch. There's no option, you gotta go. So pause on the story, because one little thing y'all need to know about me is my stories be all over the place. I try to get to the point, but there's little sub stories in the mix, right, that I have to get through in order for it to all make sense. I've actually wanted to move to Florida since I was 18. So back then, that was now 6 years ago, because now I'm 24. So 6 years ago I was 18, and the plan was always for me to move to Florida. During that time, my dad was still alive. As many of you know, my dad has passed away. Around that time, he was still alive. I was going to be graduating from high school. Me and my dad had talked on the phone about it. He told me that he wanted to get an apartment for both of us so that I can come to college over here and, you know, just live over here with him, because he lived here in Florida and me, my mom, and my sister lived in Michigan, right? So we got to see him. I used to come to Florida every summer, for the whole entire summer for the most part. Sometimes on Christmas I would come, for birthdays, like here and there, but more than anything I would come in during the summer. So Florida, I guess, to me has always been my second home, and it's always been my favorite place to come to. Like, I feel like I think that, like, Florida was such a beautiful time in my life. I lived here from the age of 5 to the age of 9, and during that time is where I had the most stable life. I had my mom, I had my dad, we had a house here, I had a dog, you know. It was like the typical picture perfect family. Of course we weren't perfect, but it felt that way, you know. Like I had my own room, I had all of that, right? And during that time, I before my dad, I was coming from being with a single teen mom who had tried to do everything for me, but obviously she was a teen and she was single, so everything that I had here when we moved here was something that was new to me, and I loved it. So I think that Florida always took me back to that, to one of the happiest moments in my life. So I always found so much comfort every time I visited Florida. So like I mentioned, that was always my plan to move here, but then in 2016, when I was 18, is when my dad passed away. So as many of you guys know, he passed away 2016 around March. So when that happened, obviously the plans of me moving here kind of went away. During that time, my little sister, who had also obviously lost our dad, was 12 years old at the time. It was just a very hard time for me to even think about moving here. I feel like I needed to be close to my mom. I needed to be, more than anything, close to my sister, to be there for her, because we were both going through such a hard time in our lives. You know, losing a parent is never easy. So like at that time, I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else other than being in Michigan with my sister. So the plans of going to Florida completely like left my mind. It was just not an option at the time. And yeah, so years passed by. I continued to come to Florida every year after that. I think that year was the first year that my best friend Ashley came to Florida with me. Unfortunately, she never got to come when my dad was around, so she didn't really get to meet him. But starting that year is when she was able to come with me for the first time, and after that it became a tradition for us to visit Florida every year. We were now adults and we had jobs and responsibilities, so we would come for the weekend, but it's been a tradition. And yeah, she always started coming with me, so she fell in love with Florida as much as I loved it. So it was a plan for us to move here together. And then unfortunately, you know, things happen, and it just wasn't something that my best friend could do at the time. Like, she wasn't going to be able to move here at the time because, you know, there was just, you know, everybody has a path on this world. Everybody has a plan. And unfortunately, it wasn't in her plans anymore at the moment to move to Florida, which I totally understood. But I can't lie and say that it kind of sucked, because I felt like one of my biggest things on, like, I guess my bucket list of life was to always be able to live with my best friend, because, you know, she is honestly like my bestest friend. We've been friends since we were in the 3rd grade. We've been best friends since we were in the 4th grade, but we met when we were in 3rd grade. So it's been around 14 years. I don't know, I can't do the math right now, but I think it's been like 14 years that we've been best friends. So to even think of moving across the country and sharing an apartment with was like something that I couldn't wait to do. So when she told me that she wasn't going to be able to move, it did hurt. However, you know, as a person, you got to understand that not everybody has the same goals or the same plan as you, and I totally support her, and I understand that she has other things in mind. And I told her that I still had to come, you know, I still had to come. And I think that, again, these past few years have been so close, and so, like, we spend every weekend together for the most part. I don't think we really spend any weekends apart. So to think that I was gonna be moving here and she was gonna stay in Michigan was so hard for me. However, I had already prepared myself mentally and emotionally that I was gonna move to Florida, that I had told myself that whether she moved with me or not, I still had to do it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like in those 5, well now 6 years that I didn't move to Florida, from the age that I was 18 to now, I feel like aside from me feeling like I had to stay in Michigan for my sister, there was just a lot of fear in me. Like, I was super fearful of the unknown, of failing, like coming here and failing, even of success. I think I had fear of success. Like I felt like I imagined myself moving to Florida and being successful in what I love to do, and like possibly creating a life for myself here, that like I'm like, what, like if I do achieve that, then what, like what do I do? You know, it was just so much fear. Fear of leaving my sister behind and not being that support for her, fear of moving here and it not going the way that I wanted it to, fear of leaving my family behind, fear of like leaving the only place that I've ever known behind. Like it was just so much fear. And I feel like this last year when me and my best friend decided to move here, like all of that fear kind of started going away in the beginning, because I felt like I was gonna have her to kind of like, you know, go on this journey with me. But then even after she wasn't, you know, gonna move here anymore, I felt like I had already started that train of, you know, excitement and like leaving the fear behind and like just being excited to move here, that yeah, even after she wasn't able to do it anymore, like I felt like I still had that drive and I still wanted to come. So I told her, okay, I totally get it, I still have to do it. And she was 100% supportive because she's just amazing. And yeah, so I started the process. Imagine, I think she told me back in February that she wasn't gonna move anymore. I want to say it was February. Then it just became a waiting game, honestly, because originally we were gonna move in March. Then when she told me that she wasn't gonna be able to anymore, I decided to push it to June because I was a receptionist at a school over there, so I wanted to wait until summer for me to move here. And then in January, my family left to Georgia for a few months, and my family, my parents asked me if I could watch their house for them during the time that they were gone. So going back to me living with my cousin, I'm hoping all of this is making sense to you guys, because I feel like I'm all over the place, but I really just want to explain the whole timeline of everything that has happened in order for me to get here to where I am right now in a Target parking lot in Florida. So I'm trying to make sure that everything makes sense. So going back to me living with my cousin, I basically thought that, okay, well, by the time that me and Ashley move, like I will stay there until we move, right? So in January is when my parents told me that they wanted to go to Georgia for a few months, and I had actually told them that that's when I told them that I was officially going to move to Florida, that I wanted to do it. They supported me in my decision. They told me to go for it, that they knew it was going to be great. So I had the support from my parents. So then they asked me si me podía quedar en su casa hasta que llegara el momento que me iba a mudar. So until the day that I was going to move, they asked me if I could watch over the house while they were in Georgia. So this now means that I had 1 week, and I waited only until the weekend, because that's just who I am. I'm a procrastinator. So I waited till the weekend to pack all of my stuff from my cousin Daniela's house, pack it all up, and move into my mom's house.
You guys, this is my last time waking up in this room. It makes me so sad.
It is official. It is March 2nd. So ya pasaron como 2 días, el pinche piojo me brinca. Ya pasaron como 2 días that I started packing everything, and I just wanted to show you guys kind of how it's looking, because I've packed a lot already, and it's just so sad to see it like this. Like it's a bittersweet moment, and let me show you guys it real fast. Like literally, ya todo lo quité. I just moved everything into one corner, like the big things. Like my mirrors are staying, my TV, all of this is staying, just because like where I'm going right now for the moment, like I just can't take it with me, but I am gonna come back and get it once we leave to Florida. But yeah, like let me just show you guys a big view, like, and then the mess out here is ridiculous, because now I moved a lot of the stuff out here. Luckily, she only lives 7 minutes away from where I was living, but she asked me if I could move in. During this time, one of my sisters moved in with me. She was going through some stuff. She moved in with me, and me and her were now living together in my mom's house by ourselves for what ended up being 7 months. Yes. So me and my sister, at the time I'm 23, she's 20 years old. We are two young women living by ourselves in my mom's house. We used to live at that house when we were, you know, teenagers, and we were now living together as young women. So it was kind of like such a 360. We had both moved out already from that house. Like, again, I was living with my cousin, she had moved out with her boyfriend. Like, it was like a whole thing of us already living an independent life, and then all of a sudden we were living back at my parents' house, but just me and her this time, without like everybody else. So again, that was such a fun time, but it was such an unexpected time. That's why I mean that was such a transition moment for me, because I was living at my cousin Daniela's house thinking that from there I was gonna move to Florida, and then it happened that I moved into my mom's house for 7 months, and I was just working and living with my sister and just really getting the experience of living by myself. Basically, I was cooking, we were cleaning, we were throwing parties, which I will put some clips here because it was truly such a fun time. Never in my life did I think that I was ever gonna live with my cousin Daniela, who I grew up so close with, and then never in my life did I think I was gonna live with my sister by ourselves for 7 months. So then after the 7 months, going back into the story, after the 7 months, my parents come back from Georgia. They come back to their house. At the time I was sleeping in my mom's room because she told me I could stay in there while they were gone, and they come back. So now I want to give them their room back, so I move all of my stuff again, because I had packed all of my things from Daniela's house. I had packed it into my mom's room because that's where I was staying. For the 7 months I was living out of my boxes. I literally had 2 canastos. Canastos are hampers. I had 2 hampers, one for dirty clothes and one for my everyday basic clothes, because I refused to unpack any of my boxes while I was there, because I was like, then I'm gonna have to pack it all up again when I leave to Florida, even though I had no idea when that was gonna be at this point. I just had no idea. So going back into it, I was living out of my 2 canastos, and over 7 months I was slowly getting things out of boxes and, you know, just putting them everywhere. So now I had to pack the whole room up and move myself to the living room, because my sister, my now 17-year-old sister, was back in her room. My 20-year-old sister was still in her room, and my parents were back in their room. We have 3 rooms in the house. So I told them I would stay in the living room, because at this point my parents had agreed to bring me to Florida. So once my parents get back to Michigan, they agreed to drive me and all my stuff to Florida. So I told my mom, you know what, like, I want you to have your room back. I will stay in the living room until, you know, you guys take me to Florida. And during that time that I was in the living room, which I will show a clip. So this is basically where I was sleeping and living for the last month or so. Sleeping on this couch every night, which was not very comfortable, but you know, had to do what we had to do. All of my stuff was basically already packed here. It looks like a mess right now because we're getting ready to pack it in the truck, but by the way, these come in handy so much. Shout out to my friend who told me to get them. But yeah, so basically I lived here. This is my parents' house. I lived here for like 7 months. I had a room, but then for this last month, it's been very much a waiting game on, I know, like that, you know, so messy. It's been a waiting game on when I was gonna leave, so we didn't really know when I was gonna leave or not. So for the last month I was just sleeping on this couch. So yeah, on to new beginnings. So yeah, as you guys saw, that's where I was staying. I know it looks crazy. My mom's house is usually not that bad. It can get that bad because of my little siblings, but it looked that bad because, like, I was in the process of moving everything. I was in the, like, you know, it was just a mess because I had made it a mess because I was constantly packing and moving and doing I had stuff everywhere, like all of my stuff, all of my belongings, aside from like my bigger stuff that I had stayed at Daniela's house. All of my belongings and clothes and shoes and a whole bunch of crap was now crammed in the living room with me. And as you guys saw, that couch is where I was staying at, which I feel bad because I was literally just messing up my mom's couch more than it already was. But I was sleeping on that couch for a month because I had no idea when I was gonna come to Florida because little things kept happening. So back to me being excited and having that adrenaline and that excitement of moving to Florida. During that month of me sleeping on the couch, I really started to doubt, to second guess, to double think everything, which is something that I didn't want to get to. Like, I didn't want to get to the point where I started doubting myself, because once I start doubting a little bit the decision that I'm making, it's over. Like, to my fellow Libras out there, if you can relate, like, it is so hard to make decisions. It's so hard to make decisions and to commit to stuff. So once I commit to something, like, I have to do it then and there, because if not, I start second guessing and doubting, and then I'm back to square one of like, should I do it, should I not, should I do it, should I not, right? So I strongly believe in God, God's timing, like, you know, everything, you know. So I started questioning. I was sleeping on that couch, right? And every time I would sleep, like, it would come tonight and I was laying on that couch, I would start to think, am I gonna move to Florida? Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing, God? Like, in the beginning, I saw all the signs that were telling me to go, right? Like, I was ready, like, emotionally and mentally ready to come. You know, the excitement was there. Like, even my parents leaving for a few months, I felt like it had prepared me to kind of like know what it was like to be without them, you know, to not live with them. So I felt like, I'm like, wow, God is really aligning everything. God knew that one of the biggest things that was holding me back was leaving my family behind. So then he went and took them to Georgia for a few months and I felt like that was a sign to kind of show me that I was capable of being on my own. I was capable of being separated from my family and living my life. And I felt like all the signs were there. Like, you know, I was already out of Daniela's house, which was another thing that I was like, I'm gonna leave the place that I've been in for 3 years, right? It just, I felt like in the beginning, everything was aligning. Everything was just falling into place. Everything was telling me to move here. And then in that last month, I felt like everything was telling me, am I gonna go? Am I not gonna go? Is this gonna even happen for me? Is it not gonna happen for me? So yeah, doubt started coming into my mind, and that's when I was like, oh my God, Lord, like, Jesus Christ, please. I feel it in my soul, I feel it in my gut, I feel it in my heart that Florida is where I'm meant to be, and Florida is where I'm supposed to be. Why is this happening? Why does it seem like little things keep on happening that are causing me not to leave? Because it was like, we would set a date. So basically I would tell and like, it's funny because my family could tell you, like, they literally threw me a little surprise dinner with some of my closest friends and cousins, because I was supposed to leave that weekend, and then I didn't end up leaving, which came to my advantage, because so within that month that I was sleeping on the couch, I was supposed to leave that, like, that weekend. That first week that I started sleeping on the couch, I was supposed to leave that weekend. My friends were gonna bring me. I love my friends so much. I thank them so much. They had told me that they would bring me and all my shit to Florida, but it was kind of like too soon. They wanted to bring me on a Thursday, and when we planned this, it was on a Sunday, and I felt like I was not like ready. Like, I didn't have anything, like, I didn't have anything ready to go, so it just wasn't gonna be possible. So because of them not bringing me that weekend, I was able to accomplish, in that weekend that I didn't come, I was able to accomplish another goal of mine that I had for this year that I wouldn't have been able to do if I would have left, right? So I think back to that weekend and not being able to come and saying like, wow, God really does everything at a perfect timing. He knows what he's doing. Thanks to me not leaving that weekend, I was able to do that. And I'm gonna tell you guys what that goal is. And let me tell you that before I started filming this video, I was a little bit iffy about sharing this goal because it's a little embarrassing. Actually, it's super embarrassing for me. And if anybody is watching this that maybe thought that I already had it, are probably like, wow, bitch, like, you barely got it, like, you're barely, like, damn, about time, right? But only you know, only you as a person know what your struggles are. Only you as a person know what kind of things you go through and why it is that maybe some things are not accomplished yet. And for me, I knew why it took me so long. So let me tell you guys what it is. I talk so much and then I don't even tell you guys what it is, right? What I'm talking about. But I got my license, my driver's license. I know that to a lot of you, that might come as a surprise to know that I didn't have my driver's license until I was 23, because I was still 23 when I got it. Still 23 when I got it. But only I know why it took me so long to get it, and that's a whole nother story. If you guys want me to tell you about the whole license thing and everything, I can make a little video on that. But it took me such a long time, but I was genuinely so proud of that accomplishment, because I like, there was nothing anybody could tell me to take that proud feeling away from me.
Pues no pasa nada, diga.
Ay, ¿qué tal si chocamos?
No pasa nada.
No, me da miedo, niño.
No, ya nos vamos.
So thanks to me not leaving that weekend, I got my driver's license. And then that following Tuesday, my grandma, who had been in Mexico for 13 years, I hadn't seen her in 13 years, finally got her residency. She got her papers, and so she came to the United States. We had not seen my mom in 13 years. It was just a big moment in our lives, such a beautiful moment to see. I'm so happy that I was able to be there to see my mom see her mom again after 13 years. So yeah, I'm like, things happen for a reason. I was able to be there for that. And then the following week we were supposed to come, and we took my stepdad's truck in to, you know, get maintenance to make sure it was good to go for us to drive it here. And the truck had something wrong with it, so it was in the shop for 2 weeks after that. I feel like I've talked so much, and I feel like I've been all over the place. But yeah, as you guys can see, like, so much was happening from the moment, starting since January all the way until September. It was just so much going on. So much going on, yet nothing that I felt like, I just felt like I was in this limbo. I felt like I was again in this transition. I call this my transition year, because literally it was such a year where, like, nothing that I had in mind, like, it was happening. Like nothing that I could imagine was now happening. Like, I never imagined moving from Daniela's house and living at my mom's house with my sister for 7 months. Never did I think I was gonna be sleeping in the couch for a month because, you know, I was gonna come. Like, never did I think my best friend was actually not gonna move with me. There was just so much happening, so much going on. And to top it off, my car that I had since the age of 16, Carol, my car's name was Carol, Caroline when she was good, Carol when she used to be a pain in the ass, broke down. It broke down, and we've had that truck for a long ass time. I think I want to say like 11, 12 years, because before it became my car, it was actually my mom's car, who she then gave to me once I started to drive. It came down with some stuff, things that were gonna cost a good amount of money to fix, and I just felt like I didn't want to bring my truck all the way across the country for it to just like stop working on, for it to break down on me again. And I felt like all the money that I was going to use to fix it, I could just save a little bit more and just get a brand new car. A little recap: I have now moved to my parents' house. My friend is now not moving with me. My car is no longer coming with me. At that point, in the beginning of September, I quit my job because I thought I was going to be coming in the first month of September. And the only reason I quit the job is because during the summer we're off and school was going to start back in September, and I wanted to give them time to find a new receptionist, because I didn't want to just go back to work for a week, because again, I thought I was coming the first week of September. I didn't want to just go into work for a week and then be like, hey, you know what, like, I'm leaving. You know, like, I couldn't even put in a 2-week notice because I was going to leave supposedly before that. Like, it was just a whole thing. So I didn't have a job, I didn't have a car, I was sleeping on the couch, and it was crazy to think that in the beginning of the year I was still, you know, I had my job, I had my car, I was living at my cousin's house, I was doing good, I was like living my best life, it was fine. We had just came to Florida for New Year's around that time, like everything was good. So it comes down to my birthday weekend. My birthday was on Friday, September 24th. On Friday, my stepdad had already told me that that Saturday we were going to be able to go pick up the truck, and we were going to pack up my stuff, and we were going to drive to Florida that day on September 25th. But so much had already happened that I didn't even believe it anymore. You know, like, We were gonna leave, then we didn't. We were gonna leave, then we didn't. We were gonna leave, then the car broke for was in the shop for 2 weeks. So it's just, I felt like every time I said that I was leaving, something happened and then I didn't leave. So I didn't even want to tell like my cousins anymore. I didn't want to tell my family anymore, because I just felt like it was one of those, like the girl who cried wolf. Like I felt like I kept saying I was leaving, they would like go out and celebrate with me to like, you know, despedirse, and then like the next week they're like, bitch, you're still here, you know. So I felt like I just didn't say anything. That I told myself that if I wasn't gone by my birthday, I didn't want to do anything for my birthday. Thankfully, I have a great sister. I have great friends. They actually threw a little birthday dinner for me on Friday. We went out, had a few drinks, we went out to dinner, and I didn't tell them that I was possibly leaving the next day, just because I didn't know if it was gonna happen and I didn't want to, you know, say it again. The next morning, me and my stepdad go pick up the truck, we pack it all up, and I text my cousins and I text my friends, and I let them know that if they are able to stop by the house to say bye, that they could, because I was actually going to be leaving in a few hours. Unfortunately, it was super late notice. All of my cousins have kids, so, and they're in sports, so they all had soccer games and like things to do, which is totally understandable. So unfortunately, I was not able to say goodbye to my close cousins, my close family in person. I was not able to really say bye to my friends, even though I had just seen them the night before. We didn't really say a proper goodbye, but thankfully I was able to see them the night before. So then that day came, we packed my stuff, we got on the road, and my wonderful parents brought me here to Florida. My aunt had already offered for me to come and stay with her until I found a job, until I found a place to live, until I found all of that. But honestly, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be able to move here and have a job and have an apartment to kind of already be, you know, have things set up, right? But unfortunately, that's not how it worked out. And I felt like, although in the beginning I didn't want to come here and just stay with her, you know, and be like that, like maybe not a burden, but kind of like come in and stay with her, I decided that it was going to be the best choice. I told myself that if I didn't do it now, that I was probably never gonna do it. My aunt has been like the best thing ever, like ever. So that's basically the end of the story, guys, in regards to like how everything happened. So now I'm here. I don't think you guys know how grateful I am. I'm trying to finish up this video because it's becoming nighttime and the light is going away, but I don't think you guys understand how grateful I am to all of the people that have contributed to my life in general. Okay, sorry, my camera ran out of space, but basically what I was saying is that I'm just so grateful to come here and start a whole new life. Like, you guys don't understand how much I am so happy to be here. I know that it's gonna be hard, in the sense that it's gonna take hard work. It's gonna take a lot of dedication. It's gonna take a lot from my part in order to create a life for me here. It's gonna take a lot for me to grow here, whether it's in my career, in everything. But I feel like I just have this clean slate. I have this like fresh canvas of where I can make of my life anything that I want. I hope to really grow my career out here. Like I mentioned, you guys know how much I love to do makeup, so I hope that I can do something in that. I hope that I get I basically wanted to bring you guys on my journey. I never thought I would see the day where I would leave the only place I've ever known, which is Michigan, to leave the only friends, the only family I've ever known behind, and to go out on my own to a whole new state and start a whole new life. So I want you guys to go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and if you are already subscribed, then I hope you guys enjoy this new journey that I am now embarking on. I'm just so happy to be here. Yeah, I'm just so happy to be here. Every time that I looked at my future when I was in Michigan, I never saw myself there. I always saw myself here, and the fact that I have made the decision to move here just makes me so proud of myself, because I felt like for a while there I feel like for a while there, I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I didn't know, I really hadn't done anything, you know. I felt like I really hadn't done anything, and I was starting to kind of doubt myself and be like, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you really haven't made any sacrifices. You really haven't done much to better your life. What change are you gonna make in your life in order for you to create and achieve the life that you've always wanted? Every time I look into my future, there's a certain lifestyle and a certain life that I want to create for myself. I want to be able to give my parents everything that they've always wanted. I want to be able to repay my aunt for everything she's done for me. I want to be able to repay my cousin, people that are closest to me, my friends, everything. I want to be able to pay everybody back, and I want to be able to live I want to be able to live a life that I'm happy with. The only thing I can do is put my life in God's hands and pray that everything goes as planned. I'm just here to follow his plan for me. I'm here to follow the journey that I'm supposed to be on. I feel that I'm in the right place, and I'm just so thankful. I love you guys so much. I'm so happy to see you again, and see you on the next one. It says, do you ever plan to move away from here? If so, where and why? So you guys know I live in Michigan. This is where I was born. This is where I was raised most of my life. This is home. Personally, as I get older, I dislike it a little bit more. At the end of the day, this is always going to be home. It's always nice to come back and be in a place where it's familiar and, you know, you have family and friends. But as I get older, I feel like there's not much for me here. I've always gone to Florida. Florida is my second home. I love it with all my heart. It's always been a dream of mine to move there, but I feel like I'm just such a scaredy cat. Like, I'm such a scary ass person of change and, like, you know, leaving my family, leaving my mom. I just want to see what life has to offer more than just Michigan. Like, I'm just ready for something different. I know one day, and I hope one day I get the courage to really get up and move out to Florida just for
yeah.